435 representatives from throughout the United States make up the House of Representatives. This election, one of those seats, the one representing the largest area of Oregon's 5 districts, is up for grabs. Eastern Oregon represents some of the most scenic, diverse landscapes in the country, and its citizens who are proud to call it home. Tonight, EO Alive TV and the 8 newspapers of EO Media Group present a chance to get to know those candidates better. For them, the race has just begun. Webcasting live from Brent Clapp Studios in La Grande, Oregon, here's tonight's moderators, Chris Rush and Corinne Bergiotti.
Good evening. I'm Chris Rush, regional publisher for the EO Media Group, based in Pendleton.
And I'm Corinne Bergiotti, publisher of the La Grande Observer, the Baker City Herald, and the regional sales director for the EO Media Group. It's great to be with you tonight, Chris.
Likewise. Tonight we're pleased to have 4 out of the 5 Democratic candidates for Congress with us.
And tomorrow night we'll be hosting 7 of the Republican candidates for the CD2 seat in Congress. Due to the large number of candidates, we'll be dividing them into 2 groups, and those 2 forums will air live tomorrow night at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Let me first go over the format of the forum. First of all, this is not a debate, so candidates should address their answers to the audience, not to each other. Each candidate will be asked the same set of questions and will have the same amount of time to answer each question. You'll hear a tone like this when your time is up. So please finish your sentence at that point.
Tonight's questions were developed by EO Media Group editors from all 8 of our group's newspapers in the 2nd District, highlighting relevant issues that are important to residents in the district, which covers all of Eastern and Central Oregon and a good portion of Southern Oregon as well.
It's a huge district, larger than some states geographically speaking, with a population of about 800,000 people. Time permitting, we hope to get into some questions submitted by our readers via email and the general public via Facebook Live as well.
Before we get started tonight, we'd like to acknowledge the generous support we've received from the Umatilla County Democrats, PAC West, and CHI St. Anthony Hospital of Pendleton for tonight's event. If your company has a pre-made commercial and would like to advertise during the Republican forums tomorrow night, please contact Brent Clapp.
Okay. Putting on a live virtual forum like this is new to us. In the past, our company's newspapers would meet with candidates individually in editorial board meetings and host in-person candidate forums in each town. Now, with COVID-19 and social distancing making these types of gatherings impossible, we've embraced the technology to let us hold these virtual forums. And we hope we can reach just as many, if not more, potential voters in this format as we would have previously.
The partnership with EO Alive TV was essential in making these forums a reality. So thanks to Brent Clapp and to his team.
And with that, we'll get started. Corinne and I will take turns asking questions of the candidates. We'll let you know the order in which the candidates will answer, which will change with each question. We've used an online randomizer to determine the order in which each question will be answered. So we'll begin with opening statements. Tell us about yourself and why you are running. You each have 2 minutes, and the order will be Holm, Spencer, Hewerts, and Vaughn. We'll start with Mr. Holm.
No, you're not. Thank you for having me. Let me start with, I'm John Holm from Medford, Oregon. I was born in Grants Pass, and I've kept my home in the Rogue Valley my whole life. As a Democratic strategist for the last 15 plus years, I must work in more than just Oregon, but I can never leave this area. I've been a business owner, member of the grocery union, a real estate broker, and I've navigated the system being on disability since a series of accidents hindered my ability to work over 20 years ago. I'm running for Congress because Republican lawmakers have been working in their own self-interest and ignoring the needs of Oregonians for too long. Policies supported by Greg Walden has not only been harmful to our climate, but led to poor forest and public land management policies while leaving too many Oregonians behind when it comes to healthcare, jobs, and education. We need someone representing Oregon's 2nd District who will be an employee of the people, who will listen to the needs of the people throughout the district and work hard in Congress to improve overall quality of life. I have a fire in my belly ready for a huge fight uphill. 2021 will be like what FDR had to do after the Depression. We need to put systems in place to make sure everyone can get access to health care, as well as stay in their homes to have access to food, water, and other critical resources and services. We can take this as an opportunity to rebuild not only some of our failing systems, but we can rebuild ourselves out of this problem by tackling our backlog infrastructure projects with a green energy approach. My father is a lineman for the power company in the 70s, was always passionate about Oregon's potential to be a natural power generator for the West Coast. He installed in me the same passion for bringing Oregon into the future with green energy policies and policies that protected our climate and our world while creating green jobs as well as building wealth. This virus has caused everything to come to a standstill. This is an incredible, difficult time for a lot of people. One way we can find positivity is look to the future. Right now, we have a great moment to step in to make changes that we have not been able to make before, that our prior elected officials failed to make. I believe we can come together to build a better Oregon, and I'm stepping up to lead us into that future. Thank you.
Home. Now to Ms. Spencer.
She's muted. There we go.
Ms. Spencer, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you. I am Alex Spencer, and I want to be your voice in Congress. Throughout this amazing journey, I have driven over 6,200 miles, met with hundreds of our neighbors, listened and learned what is most important to us, our families, and our communities. While water, security, and healthcare, infrastructure, and the economy are all high on the list, the most important issue for everyone is healing the divisiveness that plagues Oregon and the U.S. I have the strength, diverse background, expertise, and ability to get this job done. Now, a COVID-19 revolution has been thrust upon us, and it is important to begin where we are, with the resources we have available. People need food, healthcare, money, testing, and support. I have asked my supporters to donate to others first. At spencer2020.com/pandemic support, there is a list of organizations on the front lines of this crisis, making sure folks are getting what they need to survive. If you can donate, please donate there first. I will work to get us through this COVID-19 revolution. And when in Congress, I have systems planned for our next revolution, a positive evolution of strength through universal health care, ensuring clean, cold, healthy water, common sense gun responsibility, infrastructure from internet for everybody to high-speed rail. I am Alex Spencer, and I will be your voice in Congress.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Now to Mr. Hewerts.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for everybody who's putting this on. I am Nick Hewerts, and I'm running for office because I feel like our country is at a tipping point. Our earth as we know it is dying. Our economy isn't working for anybody other than Wall Street, monopolies and duopolies, and our government just is not representing its people. I grew up here in the district on a small farm and had my own business for 20 years. And so I saw firsthand how people in the district were affected by monopolies and duopolies and Wall Street, just really taking over our government and our economy. So, our system is broken because we allow legal bribery. So those with the most money get what they want. If we, the people, want to get what we want, we have to fix the system first. The good news is that on issue after issue, the majority of the American public agrees. Things like universal single-payer healthcare, so people aren't going without health care or even dying because they can't afford health care. Things like sustainable infrastructure investment, which can create millions of jobs across our country and thousands of jobs in the district. But we can't get those things if we don't get money out of politics first. So that's the first step, and I have a plan for that. The first step is to get rid of Citizens United, which currently allows corporations to give dark money. The second step is to work around the Electoral College via the National Popular Vote Initiative, which would give a vote to the people directly. That, among other things that you'll find on my website, I have an extensive list there that I can't go through all tonight. But if we do all those things, then we can start to legislate the will of the people. Get things like the Green New Deal or Medicare for all the other things that we need and want for this country to thrive economically and importantly, with equality for all its people as well. So I feel like it's our job to motivate and educate the voters to come out in record numbers in 2020, get into Washington, make the systemic changes that we need and tip this country back in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hewerts. Now to Mr. Vaughn.
Hello, thank you for having me. I am running for Congress because I believe that many Americans are frustrated and that they're angry that Congress doesn't understand the troubles that they have on a daily basis. Many Americans feel the American dream is out of reach for them. Some younger voters probably don't even understand what the American dream is. Most of Congress is made up of millionaires or wealthy individuals, and I think Congress should look like the people it represents. It should be made up of various ethnic groups and religious backgrounds, as well as various economic backgrounds. As a working class American myself, I understand what it's like to work a job 60 hours a week and still not be able to make ends meet or feel like you're getting by. I understand what it's like to live in a country that doesn't have paid family leave, or many people don't even have paid vacation time or any vacation time at all. People live paycheck to paycheck. People don't have money in their savings accounts. So I am running to give those people a seat at the table. I want to represent the vast majority of people, which are working class Americans. And when I go to Washington, I'm not going to be beholden to corporate interest. I am going to be beholden to the American people, and I will work and fight for them for progressive values that will help our country move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Our second question is, what are your top 3 priorities for Oregon's 2nd Congressional District? You have 90 seconds to respond, and the order will be Hewerts, Holm, Vaughn, and Spencer. Mr. Hewerts?
Thank you. Yeah, very good question. Top 3 priorities for the district. It's hard to pick just 3. I would have to say the infrastructure is one of them, which goes along with one of my top points in general. If we can invest in new sustainable jobs, that's what we need in our district. Nobody should be left behind by changing technology or changing economies. So investing in sustainable infrastructure jobs. We need high-speed internet across the district. Specifically, it's disenfranchising businesses and education, all kinds of things that high-speed internet will open up the doors for Eastern Oregon and across the district. So high-speed internet access across the district, infrastructure investment, and then some sort of single-payer Medicare for all healthcare. Everybody that I talk to across the district and really across the state, everybody is worried about being able to take care of their family when it comes to their health. And so that's something that those are 3 of my top priorities for the district specifically. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Holm, you have 90 seconds.
My first thing is going to be worrying about what's left from the coronavirus. My biggest thing is that the state is worrying about how much money they have available to get people back to work. Our small businesses will not be back working as well as they need to be, so we're going to have to find ways to get the employees that were not rehired back to work. We're going to have to find ways to help the farms that are not going to be able to get their produce back sold. There are just so many things that are going to be left not done. And we're going to have to find solutions to start helping these people, because that is going to be so many left undone things that we're going to have to find. So we got to find more money to the states to help them fill in the budget holes that are going to be left, because I don't see that being done by this Congress or the Senate. The next thing we have to worry about is healthcare. Our healthcare right now is the dark ages. We need a Medicare for all solution. We need it done now, because this coronavirus definitely showed that we have a huge problem with that hole from there. Third, we need to get our education system brought back into a better setup, because this coronavirus also showed what we have isn't anywhere close to what we need. When we shut down, kids were basically thrown back out of school, and it's like, what now? We have no Wi-Fi in some areas. We have no, not Wi-Fi, but no connection to, and no pads for the kids to be able to access their schoolwork. We need to figure out how to get things brought into
John.
the current day.
Your time's up. Thank you. Mr. Vaughn.
And it's a difficult one because it's hard to only choose three, because there's so many important things that need to be done. But my first one would be climate change, fighting the climate change problem and just our environment in general. It's planet Earth does not need humans, but if humans want to be a part of the equation, then we need to fix our environment. We need to fight climate change. We are way behind on this. We're probably like 10 years behind because we just haven't been getting it done. We need to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. We need to implement a Green New Deal so we can get good paying jobs that are going to transition us from a fossil fuel economy to a sustainable economy. And I think a majority, a lot of people believe in climate change. The majority of them do. And they're very upset that we haven't taken action on that at this point. The other thing is Medicare for all. I hear from people every single day. I hear people talking about healthcare and how it's just so messed up in this country. We're the only industrialized country that doesn't have it. And I'm tired of having to see people go to GoFundMe to try and get healthcare, because GoFundMe is not healthcare. Even people that have healthcare oftentimes do not have enough money to get the care they need because they can't afford the out-of-pockets and the co-pays that go along with it, or they get denied claims all the time from the insurance companies. Lastly, my other big thing encompasses a lot, but it's just compassion for people. And by that, I mean, we need comprehensive immigration reform, no family separation, keeping families together. We need a living wage.
Your time is up.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Alex Spencer, you're next, 90 seconds.
Yes, thank you. The very most important thing is to end the divisiveness that we all feel on a visceral level. Until this is done, until we have healed the divide, nothing else can get done. Until Congress can work together, can do the hard work of communication, we will be at a loss to do anything else. Then healthcare. It is obvious because of that we've seen in this pandemic that we need universal healthcare. Healthcare for everyone from head to toe. That's everyone standing on American soil. The fact that we have a profit-driven healthcare system has become the bane of our existence. We don't have the beds. We don't have the manufacturing, the structure. We don't have the things that we need. We need to start from where we are. Right now is the perfect time to start talking about a universal healthcare system for everyone, given that so many people have lost their healthcare over the past couple of weeks due to their employers shutting down. And so now we don't have those connections to employer-based healthcare, so we can start from where we are, get everyone cared for, and take the profit out of people suffering. Then we need to really talk about infrastructure, and that's 3.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. The third question is, COVID-19 is a tremendous health care challenge facing our district and the nation. What challenges do you want to see or changes rather, do you want to see in the nation's healthcare system as to respond? Order will be Spencer, Hewerts, Holm, and Vaughn. So Ms. Spencer, you can pick back up.
Thank you. Yes, this is very important. We have been hit with the COVID-19 revolution, and we need to, again, start where we are now. Everyone needs to continue from this point on is to look to the national government, look to our Army Corps of Engineers and our National Guard to mobilize farmers to get their surplus food to the people who are starving. Right now, today, we have people who are hungry tonight because of this virus, because people have lost their jobs, and the money is just now getting to folks. And it is so very important that we take care of our people, that we take care of our neighbors. Everyone pitching in has been wonderful, and we need a national response. We need to make sure that Georgia doesn't open everything up again tomorrow. We need to make sure that people stop dying. It is illegal in America to kill people. And that is what this administration is doing by reopening slaughterhouses, by creating a situation that is putting more and more people at risk. We have limited resources, 780 ventilators in the entire state of Oregon. Most of those are in the populated areas. There are 2 in the Dalles. There are 2 in Hood River. If 100 people, just 100 people get sick enough to need an ICU bed, then we're all in trouble. So stay home, stay safe, and take care of each other.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Mr. Hewerts.
Thank you. Unfortunately, our national leadership currently is incompetent. And so first step to what I would like to see in the future in order to take care of these type of events would be to get rid of our incompetent leadership at the head of our at the head of our country right now. Basically, we had a whole unit set up to take care of pandemics and to deal with these national emergencies, and Donald Trump got rid of them. So going forward, we need to reinstate those programs that we had. Getting rid of those programs literally lost lives. It literally killed people, and Donald Trump did that. And this is what government is for. And that's why we can't have people in leadership who don't understand what government is for. Government is for emergencies. Government is to help people in a time of a pandemic. If government is for anything, that's what government's for. And unfortunately, when you go in and you just gut government just for the fun of it, you end up with this kind of result. So we need to get the pandemic unit back in place for the future. Definitely, we should have a plan in place from day one. I was saying that we need a $2,000 a month payment, reoccurring monthly payment to get people through these things financially, because otherwise, the red tape of unemployment, everybody applying at once doesn't really work. So we have to have financial plan set in place ahead of time. We have to have the unit in place ahead of time to make sure we have the medical equipment and the funding and the hospitals where and when we need them. And Medicare for All, it shines a light on the fact that we need that. If we had that in place, many lives would have been saved. People don't go to the doctor because they can't afford it. So they don't get tested, or they don't get treated, or they don't get the proper care that they need. And they're out spreading the virus because they don't have medical care, means to get medical care to find out if they have it or not. So definitely Medicare for All. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holm.
Being disabled is the obvious reason why I'm a Medicare for All. So let's start out with, we need free testing available for everyone. When people get sick, they need to be able to not work, because when you go work sick, all you're doing is spreading disease. So people need to have ability to have our ability to have sick leave. They need to be able to have more healthcare available in rural areas. We need to have more mental health abilities. And this needs to be a national effort, not just a local effort. So as a congressperson, that'd be one of my first steps to make sure that's done. Then we need to rebuild all our supplies available so that we have chance so that if we ever have a pandemic like this, which fingers crossed this never happens again, we'll be ready for it. So we will never have another anemic government response. Then we need to make sure that the next time we go forward on there, we have a government that's ready to react by setting up groups that practice what we preach. We need to test, we need to make sure that we have reaction times, but by having Medicare for all, we have a populace that's no longer afraid to go in to the doctors because they will no longer have co-payments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vaughn.
Well, the national response to the COVID virus has been just outrageous and pathetic, basically. The administration has really shown its incompetence on this issue. They started back in January when they issued a rule through the CDC that only the CDC could test people and provide the test. And so by doing that, they basically hamstrung the entire nation on testing. And experts have said that if we would have allowed research laboratories and university laboratories to develop tests and to make tests, we could have had about 360 million tests available in the first month. We don't even have that many now, and it's been months later. And as we've seen with the $1,250 payment that has initially been made by Congress to go out to people that are hungry now and need it, they need that aid. Some people have gotten the check, but some haven't because there's all kinds of red tape involved. Some of them aren't going to get it for months. So I'm currently advocating, like some of the other candidates, that workers get, or that people get $2,000 a month in payments for the time being. But in the long term, I am advocating that we look to other countries and adopt models that have worked better. And one of those models is like a German model. In Germany, 95% of all workers are still employed right now, even though they may be off work because of isolation. But the reason why the way they were able to do that is the companies apply to the government for funds, and then they pay the workers 60% of their normal wages, and then the workers don't have to apply for it. In this country, that's been a huge mess because people are going to apply for unemployment and they can't get through. And the websites are crashing at the unemployment offices, and so it's taking forever for people to get the aid. So we need to adopt a better model so that people get the aid they need, because it's just pathetic the way that the response has been to date. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We would like to thank everybody who is watching from home tonight, from either your local newspaper's Facebook page or their website. So thank you for those of you that have decided to join us tonight, including Robert Campbell, who is joining us tonight via the East Oregonians Facebook page. So thank you for joining us tonight, Robert. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break now to hear from our sponsor, CHI St. Anthony Hospital, Pendleton.
One afternoon at home, Mom was starting to feel a lot of tightness in her chest pains, and she also couldn't breathe. In fact, she was gasping for breath.
I was at the point where I thought I was dying.
So I called a friend who works here at St. Anthony, and she said, "You need to bring her in right away."
I was frantic. I just knew I wasn't going to make it. I was in the hospital for 6 days and had very, very good treatment the whole time. I'm very happy to St. Anthony's.
I came in feeling one way, terrified, and not knowing what to do, and leaving feeling very confident and grateful to all the staff and the doctor and everybody. It was a very positive experience, and that was thanks to St. Anthony.
Thank you. Welcome back. On to our fourth question. If you're elected, how would you approach helping the nation recover from the economic crisis resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic? And how do you balance the federal government's need to stimulate the economy with concerns about increasing our national debt? You each have 2 minutes to respond, and we will go ahead and have you respond in this order: Vaughn, Hurts, Holm, and Spencer. Mr. Vaughn, you can go ahead and go.
Okay. Well, first of all, once again, we've seen during this crisis that when a crisis happens, the people at the top are the ones that get all the help, and they get the help without the red tape. It's the people at the bottom that don't get the help or have all kinds of red tape established with the help that they're going to get. We can look back to the savings and loan crisis back in the 80s. We can look to the Enron scandal where billions of dollars were looted from a big company like that. And we can look back to the 2008 and 9 economic issues we had, where billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars were paid out to large corporations, many of them that should have never have got paid out. People that were responsible for the crisis were never held accountable. And we're seeing the same thing happen again with the COVID response. There's, the first $500 billion that went out for corporations, there was little red tape attached to it. It's going to people that shouldn't, to some companies that shouldn't even be getting it. But yet the 300 and some billion that went to the working class Americans, the everyday Americans, there's all kinds of red tape with that money, and people aren't able to even get the money. I know some small business owners that they haven't even been able to get nothing yet with what they've tried to apply. They haven't been able to get through to anybody, but the big companies, they've got their money. They're already getting it. So we need to start having Congress work on behalf of the American workers and the American people, because every time there's a crisis like that, the wealthier and the big corporations, they look at that as that's the time to loot the taxpayers and basically get billions of dollars from the taxpayers. And each time it makes the wealthier get wealthier and the less wealthier get less wealthy. And so we need to start off by having a fair system. And that's what I will advocate for when I go to Congress, is to have a fair system that's going to treat working class Americans as the hardworking people that they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Nick Hurts, please.
Thank you. Yeah, good question. I think one of the main things that we talked about a little bit already is keeping the economy going through the crisis, so that when we come out the other side, we don't have too much damage control to do. Nobody knows exactly how long this lasts and what shape and form it will take. But if we can get some kind of sustainable payments from the bottom up to keep the economy going, again, what we've seen over the last 20, 30, 40 years of trying trickle down economics is it doesn't really work. If you want to motivate and stimulate the economy, you stimulate it from the bottom up, because those people spend the money. So again, in agreement, if we can get some kind of payments to the people most in need, that'll keep the economy going somewhat through the crisis. Now, there's going to be disruption, obviously. So the other things that we can do once we get out of the crisis is invest in sustainable infrastructure. So it'd be a great time to invest in sustainable renewable energy sources that create sustainable, good-paying jobs. We can invest in our roads, bridges, septic, sewers, I should say. Live in the country, so mine's a septic. The power grid. If we invest in infrastructure, every dollar that we spend in infrastructure investment creates about $2 in economic growth. So it's not about not spending money. If we're worried about the debt and the deficit, it's about spending the money correctly, investing in the people and the planet. And if we do that correctly, which, I learned in my business, if I spent money to invest in my employees and my team and the correct things in infrastructure in my business, it would grow and create more money. And that's the same with government. If we invest in our society through infrastructure and investing in our people, our economy will grow. We've seen that work under Democratic presidents. Our last two times that we had a president in my lifetime actually bring down the opposite. It was Democratic presidents.
Thank you, Nick. John Holm, you're up next. One
thing I want to do is make sure we start off with the living wage for folks. $15 A lot of people say it's a living wage, but it's not a living wage in all areas. Some areas it actually needs more than $15. So we need to start talking about living wages. Some people say unions is a foul word. It's not. It's an honor. They rebuilt this country in a lot of areas in our early days. FDR used the unions a lot for helping rebuild this country. So I don't want people to take unions down, but we're going to need them to help us when we rebuild this country. So I want to work with them a lot for our infrastructure projects that we're going to need here shortly. But I also want to open the regs for SBA loans for small businesses. Right now, they're too tight. It's making it hard for some of the small guys to get the loans that we're trying to do to get them rebuilt. But back to infrastructure projects. I'd love to see a nice high-speed rail built. For at least the West Coast has an opening green rail project. If we do that, we start opening up communities. We get the East connected to the West as well as the North and South. It would open up things greatly. And some people say, how are we going to pay for it? Well, it pays for itself because we start moving people around and then they start spending money. And if we get the USPS involved in this as well, we get them as a partner. We get them also off the roads. And then we start using taxes. We get the rich to start paying more for for different things. Even if we start redoing the estate tax and make them pay for what they inherit for over $1 million. So this is just some of the ways we want to start changing things. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. Next up is Alex Spencer. Alex, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Yes, the economy is really being affected now. And the very first thing we need to do is change the definition of small business so that actual small businesses are the ones that are getting the relief first. Then we need to start where we are and create a universal basic income that is a sustainable income for folks that they can actually live off of and work through that. We also need to begin to bring through a clean energy economy. And that's incredibly important. The infrastructure that we can build in community-sized wind farms and solar arrays can create jobs now and for the future. And who populates these jobs? We create a new inclusive civilian conservation corps so that we can train folks to build this clean energy economy, give them training and jobs that will last their lifetime, experience that can continue from 1 year to the next, from 1 decade to the next. People deserve good paying jobs. I would suggest going from $15 to $25 an hour. That universal basic income will certainly help the employers be able to create that lag time between those two. It is time that we take care of our people. And I think one of the very first steps we need to do is bring in a new civilian conservation corps that can support folks for a long time on.
Thank you, Mrs. Spencer. The next question is very closely related to the last one. If elected, what would be your approach to balancing the economic recovery that many of you have already described? How do you balance that economic recovery with the social distancing measures that have been implemented to slow the spread of COVID-19 and with the healthcare needs of the nation? You have 90 seconds each to respond, and the order will be Spencer, Holm, Vaughn, and Hewerts. Ms. Spencer.
Thank you. Yes, social distancing is changing the way we work. And I think, again, we need to start where we are now and look at the new ways people are learning to deal with the economy as it is. There are burgeoning businesses that are growing because of this. And I think that a lot of the economy is going to come from these new businesses that we find are learning and growing through this process. So we need to look at, first of all, our broadband infrastructure so everyone can be connected to everyone else. It's incredibly important, from education to farming. And we need to understand that this social distancing could actually be a starting point for our economy, could actually support everyone in ways that we never thought of before. And I think that that's very, very important to see. Again, looking at this COVID-19 revolution that has been thrust upon us, we need to look at it as much of an opportunity as we can. And I think that through building a clean energy economy, starting with a broadband internet infrastructure that covers Oregon and then the whole of the United States, is paramount to getting us through this time.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Mr. Holm.
Thank you. One thing I want to see is that we need to make sure we have testing available. We've got to make sure that Oregon has enough testing to get our people up and working. The second thing I'd love to see is our farmers and our ranchers being able to connect with our restaurants. Nothing tastes better than fresh food being cooked. Right now, so many of our restaurants, they buy frozen and they buy from out of state. We have a next best chance for connecting Oregon together back. And if they were to connect together, then we grow together. And it also creates better community. And then third, like she just said, we can also start looking into growing our virtual economy, because we need to start expanding our internet and getting it out further into our eastern side, because our schools need it, our children need it, and there's just so much that we haven't done, because our farms are now starting to see that they need to have the internet as well. So it's supporting for our green industry as well, because now we're looking at adding solar and wind farms to the area. And Oregon is our future power battery for a growing economy as well. And eventually we can get a fast rail system going here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. Now to Mr. Vaughn.
Well, going forward, we don't really know. We're trying to rely on the experts about how things are going to go. Probably the COVID virus is going to go away a little over the summer. Probably get better because of the social isolation that we've been doing, but it could get worse again in the fall. So we may be opening up some areas of the country a little bit more, but then we may have to close some areas down again later. So we need massive testing to be able to keep a lid on that and to know where the virus is spreading. One thing I can see is for taking advantage of the opportunity to change the way we do business. For example, these massive slaughterhouses that they have that have been, they spread disease in the slaughterhouse, and a lot of the workers got COVID very easily by working there, so they had to shut a lot of them down. And now Trump administration is ordering them to go back to work. Well, I think one thing we can do is let's get away from this big corporate factory farms that have all the animals all sequestered together in these tiny areas that spread disease and things, and let's get back to more family farming and small farming and small processing facilities. It's better. People will like it better. It's better for the animals. It's better it's better for not spreading disease. So I just look at trying to take advantage of things like that to change the way we're doing things. And that's how I'll leave it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Now to Mr. Hewerts.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we need to take a scientific approach to balancing the two. If we look to science, we're getting more and more answers every day. And again, I think that's where our current national leadership is neglectful, is not looking to science, just looking to some sort of instinct to make money. The problem with that is not only does it cost lives, you can't put a price on life, right? So how do we balance this? But unfortunately, the national leadership seems to be putting a price on life and saying that it's worth it as long as we can keep the economy going. Not only is that wrong morally, but it's also wrong economically. I've been reading some economic reports that show $1 lost to the economy when we lose somebody who participates in society. So it's not only morally wrong, but it's economically wrong not to social distance and follow the guidelines that science is showing us. So I think there's a lot of leaders stepping up and balancing this as well as they can, governors and so forth. And we need to go that way. If you're one of the people out willy-nilly not taking this seriously, it's neglectful. You're putting other people's families at risk. You're putting other people at risk. So it's not just something that we can just go out and do. We have to look out for each other. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nick. On to our sixth question. The most effective legislators in Congress often accomplish their goals by working with members of the other political party. What issues are you willing to cross party lines to address? You have 90 seconds each, and in this order: Holm, Hewerts, Vaughn, and Spencer. John Holm, you're up first.
Thank you. Well, part of my plans is already looking forward on what I can take from Oregon and use for other states. And the first thing I've already looked at is putting something on the farm bill to where we can try to get grants for solar generators and wind generators for farms to be added to replace their current energy source. And also it has an extra income generator for farms. And that's something I think we can get red states to join with us on, because it is an income generator for both sides. And you have to find common interests, something that they'll also want. And it's looking for something that we can both want. And when you're doing ideas like this, you have to find a way to make our ideas work for them as well. And that's one of the things that I will do for Congress, is finding ways to make our ideas look interesting to them and making it more transparent for everybody. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to focus better, and it'll make better communities and not focus so much on just our party politics instead. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. Nick, you're up.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm absolutely willing to work with the leadership of either side of any party on every and any issue. So I think it's an interesting question, because obviously we have to work with each other to get things done. Right now, unfortunately, things are polarized and people don't want to cross the line. I would have no fear of crossing the line and making Republicans look good if it was good legislation. And that's the key, is we have to agree on legislation. My platform is largely in line with what the majority American public want on all the major issues of the day, whether that's single-payer healthcare, sustainable infrastructure investment to save our earth and create millions of new jobs, getting big money out of politics. The majority of the American public want to get big money out of politics. 90% of the American public want to get money out of politics. Way over 50% of Republicans want money out of politics. So why can't we get it? It's because big money is controlling special interests. So if Republicans are willing to look away from their special interest donors and vote with the people, the majority of the people, what they want, and then I'm all for it, and we can sit down and sign it tomorrow. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Nick. Chris Vaughn, 90 seconds.
Yes. Well, first off, I think that progressive values, poll after poll, shows that American people are in step with the progressive values that I represent and that I am fighting for and pushing for. That being said, what things can I work with Republicans on? Well, one thing is, I think, is immigration reform. They want strong borders. They always say strong borders and security at the borders. Well, I'm willing to give them that, but I want comprehensive immigration reform. It's not lost on me that immigrants have been horribly treated the last few years by the Trump administration, yet he just issued an executive order the other day to force many people to go back to work in the slaughterhouses where the COVID virus had spread, and some of those facilities were shut down, but he's forcing them to go back to work. They're putting their lives at risk to do that, but yet many of them are immigrants. And so immigrants are often essential workers. Migrant farm workers are often essential workers. So I want comprehensive immigration reform that's going to help out the migrant farmers, that's going to help out immigrants, that's going to help out the dreamers that through the DACA, and I'm willing to do strong borders for that as well. So I would be glad to work with them on that to get comprehensive immigration reform. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Alex Spencer.
Thank you so much for this question. It gives me the opportunity to tell you about a phone call I got yesterday. So I had this gentleman call me yesterday. He says, "Hey, Alex, I'm a Republican and I represent a group of Republicans that don't like what's going on the other side right now and the way they're beating each other up. So we're looking to you and we want to support you. What can we do?" And what music, what wonderful, wonderful music. I also am part of a couple of Facebook groups that are Republican Facebook groups, and I've got folks liking and sharing my videos there. So it's very, very exciting. And what they are attracted to is the fact that I do want to end the divisiveness. It is time that we come together and heal America. People are tired of not being able to talk to their neighbors. People are tired of not being able to talk to their uncle. We need to bring America together. And it is the most important thing. And in order to get anything else done, we have to do that first. Another thing that the Republicans like about my platform is my gun responsibility platform. That is common sense conceptualization to bring gun licensure to the Department of Motor Vehicles, so that we can test and understand that folks know what they're doing when they're handling a gun.
Thank you, Mrs. Spencer. Appreciate that. All right. We want to mention that we have a viewer watching from the Ben Bulletin Facebook page. Shanna M. Radford in Ben is watching. Thank you for joining us,
Thank
Shanna.
you, Shanna.
And now we want to take a 1-minute commercial break to recognize one of our sponsors, Brent Clapp Productions. Welcome back, everyone. Now moving on to our 7th question of the evening. Tribal nations within the 2nd District have called for the removal of dams to restore salmon populations, which would need congressional approval. How would you approach this issue? You each have 90 seconds to respond in this order: Hewerts, Vaughn, Holm, and Spencer. Mr. Hewerts.
Thank you. So yeah, the The dam issue is an intricate issue. Not every dam is the same. I'll just say that I've been talking to a lot of people in the Klamath Basin about the dams up there, and whether you talk to the Klamath tribes or the farmers and the different political interests there, they came together few years ago and had a compromise, a plan, and even the owners of the dams agreed. And this was a group. This was an example of people coming together to do the right thing, to get good, clean water for everybody. Sometimes people think, that farmers are against environmental precautions and so forth. Well, farmers know that they have to live off the land. They are for environmental precautions. They just want to make sure they're not being left behind in these changes. So everybody made a compromise, and the dams do need to come up out there. They're not even making power anymore. They're not efficient. They would need to be rebuilt to be able to do that. So the dams serve absolutely no purpose in this scenario. They made an agreement that everybody agreed on to take them out and to share the water and to get better water, clean water sources for farming, drinking, and everything else. And unfortunately, it got squashed at the national level. And that's an example of basically just influences, national influences overriding local, and it shouldn't be that way.
Thank you, Mr. Hewerts. Now to Mr. Vaughn.
Well, I always support when locals can come together and make an agreement on their own, and that's what they did in the Klamath Basin. They spent years trying to figure out the issue. They came up with a plan, and then Congress didn't authorize it. So I, as the representative of Oregon Congressional District 2, I would support that and fight for that. I think the dams do need to come out, and they need to go through with the agreement that they had. And I know that other areas of the district or the congressional district are also having issues with water. And as the climate change gets worse and worse, we're going to have even more stress on our water supplies. And so I'll always support efforts from locals to try and solve the issues on their own. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holm.
Thank you. As an ex-realtor, I understand water rights pretty good. And since the locals figured it out, we as an employee of the people, it's my job to go to Congress and fight for their rights, not to fight for the national rights, because I'm the employee of the people, not the employee of the feds. So I need to go and take care of them. So what I would do would be to go to Congress and explain what's going on, and then start fighting for what they did, not for what Congress wants. So it'd be my job to make sure we got the money to pay and fix and take care of the dam issue instead of fighting against them. And that's exactly what I would do. And we need to balance and protect the natural resources, the ecosystem, and make sure that the water is accessible and serves farmers' needs. And then look for the next green energy approach we could do for that area to help them make that area a much better regional approach, and work with the tribes and farmers and see what else we can do to increase and improve the area so we can find the best balance for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. Now to Ms. Spencer.
Hi, thank you so much for this question. I have news, apparently. About a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, the state of California has authorized the 3 lower dams on the Klamath River to be removed. And Oregon has already authorized the upper dam to be removed. So those 4 dam removals that were covered by the KBRA, the Klamath Basin Restoration Act, are slated to be removed. And what they need now is the go ahead by that government entity that changes over the licensure from Pacific Power to the construction company that will be removing the dams. So that's incredible news, and we're all very, very happy. And when I found this out, I instantly called the head of the Klamath tribes, and we talked about it for a while, and really got more of an understanding of what's going on there. And while the KBRA was a very strong, very strong community effort, the dam part of that looks like it's going to be cleared. It looks like we're going to be able to get rid of those dams, which is wonderful and great for the salmon, which of course is the sexy fish, as opposed to the sucker, which is the unsexy fish. Now, when I was talking to the leader of the Klamath tribes, he expressed an interest in continuing with the other parts of the KBRA. So we'll bring him back to the table.
Thank you, Alex. Our 8th question is regarding climate change. Do you believe our planet is undergoing man-made climate change? And what, if anything, should the federal government do about it? You each have 90 seconds, and in this order: Vaughn, Spencer, Hewerts, and Holm. Chris Vaughn, you're up.
Well, I absolutely believe in climate change, and whether somebody agrees whether it's human caused or whether it's just a natural process of the planet, we still need to do what's good for our planet, and transitioning from a fossil fuel economy to a sustainable economy is still better for our planet. So, as I mentioned before, planet Earth does not need humans. Planet Earth is going to keep going whether we solve this problem or not. It's going to keep on going. So if humans want to be a part of the equation, then we need to do what we can to try and solve the problem. We need to rejoin the Paris Agreement. We need to implement a Green New Deal that's just going to provide much needed money added to our infrastructure. It's also going to provide good paying jobs for Americans. It's going to provide jobs for some of the people that would lose their jobs with the fossil fuel industry. So absolutely, climate change is real. And I think a vast majority of Americans believe that, and they want something done about it. People are tired of nothing being done, of just total inaction on it is what it seems like. So I totally will fighting climate change. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Alex Spencer, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. Yes, climate change is real and extreme weather is real, and it is incredibly important. And we do need a clean energy economy and carbon sequestration, whether it be in trees or pushing the carbon down below the surface of the oceans, which is a very good idea. And there is technology ready to go for that to happen. We also need to make sure that projects like the LNG pipeline end. We need to start where we are. So right now we're using a lot less fossil fuels because of the pandemic. And we're going to find ways through a clean energy economy to do without those fossil fuels. We don't need to be sending troops across to war-torn nations. We need to keep them here. We have enough fossil fuels to get us to the point that our clean energy can take over and we can still have our cars from time to time. It's very important to get rid of the LNG pipeline because it does serve to take fracking product and drag it across 435 waterways all across CD2. And we need to protect our water. Water is the most important resource. And right now, Harney County's out of water. We've got 94% of the water table being used to irrigate. And those wells are running dry and there's arsenic on the bottom of those wells. Let's stop poisoning each other.
Thank you, Alex. Nick Hewerts, you're up.
Yeah, it worries me to even hear that posed in the way of a question. Humans contributing to climate change is a scientific fact. It is what's happening. If we're not going to follow science, then what are we going to follow? And what are we doing? We're sitting here arguing about it when it's happening. It's a fact. If we want to save our Earth, we have to act quickly. Nobody knows exactly how quickly, but we have to act quickly. We probably should have we already should have started. So it's not an either or question, like some other people have said. That's the other part of it is I understand people sometimes fear change, but the thing is that sustainable energy is already creating more jobs than the fossil fuel industry is. So if you're looking out for your jobs, which you should, you have to put food on the table and a roof over your head, and that's great. But sustainable energy is already creating more jobs than fossil fuel energy. It's already cheaper. It's already becoming cheaper than fossil fuel energy. So the fears that we had a while back of people not wanting to move into sustainable energy have all been shown. I knew we could do it. I knew if we put our minds to it, and if humans are resourceful, that we could get there. And it's already happening. It's already cheaper. It's already creating more jobs. We just need to do more R&D to make it even better, so that it's even more sustainable and doesn't create as much waste as it creates. Absolutely no new pipelines. There's no reason for new pipelines. We can create more jobs with sustainable energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. John Holm.
Thank you. We're only on this world a short time, so we need to make sure it's left for future generations. And start with, we need to teach our youth the mistakes of our past so we don't repeat them. And that is by starting with that fossil fuels can be replaced with solar and wind to generate our power. It'll create green jobs. It'll replace the industries that cause harm to the climate. No more things like LNG or Keystone. We'll rebuild our crumbling infrastructure using green solutions. The climate has to be considered along with every decision we make in Congress. We have to start thinking about what's going first before we stumble along. Humans cause way too many things for ourselves, and we have to start thinking about our children first. And that includes the climate. So let's start planning in advance about how we're going to do things, from our automobiles. Think about our industries, on how we power our power plants, how we build everything. So we need to start putting legislation forward that controls all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. Our ninth question is about the 2nd District. As you know, it covers more than 19 counties in Oregon. It actually represents 2/3 of the state's landmass. How have you connected with the people and issues in this vast district? And how would you stay connected if you're elected and sent to Washington, D.C.? You have 90 seconds to respond, and the order is Holm, Vaughn, Spencer, and Hewerts. Mr. Holm.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to use video and Facebook to connect with people. I started out driving around, going to different counties before the virus hit, wherever I could be invited to, and talking about their needs. Even before I leaped into this race, I was sending out people, listening to their needs, trying to find out how to, what they wanted, how best to run. Because if you don't know what the needs are, then how are you going to run for Congress? How are you going to go to Congress to represent them? After I get elected, what I want to do is actually take people and be more open and be more representative to them. I want to, I'm not hiding it from, I want to take people to Congress and actually change out who I take to Congress. So take to Washington, D.C. So that way more people understand what Washington, D.C. is, because that is one of the most misunderstood areas. As someone who's been to Washington, D.C., you need to actually understand that city. It is like going to Atlantis at times. It is totally misunderstood. So I want more people going around so I have a better understanding of what these 19 counties need, 19 plus counties need. As my background, I've lived all over Oregon. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. Now to Mr. Vaughn.
Well, I grew up in a small town in Iowa of about 5,000, 6,000 people. So I know what it's like to live in a small town. I moved to Bend in 1987 when I was in my early 20s. And I've lived here pretty much ever since. And so I've gotten to know the area good. I know what it's like to live in I know what it's like to live in a rural area. I know what it's like to live in a bigger city. So I know issues facing people from both areas. It's been really hard to stay connected during this campaign because I didn't enter the campaign until March 10th, which was the deadline for entering. And then on the 13th, I was sick myself with COVID symptoms, and so I had to isolate, and then everybody else started isolating. And so everything has to be done through social media. But what I hope to get across is that I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm fighting for progressive values, but if you're a moderate Republican or an independent that maybe doesn't necessarily agree with me on the progressive values, if you want somebody to go to Washington and is going to shake things up and try to do things different, then vote for me, support me, because if you vote for one of the other Republicans, you're just going to get more of the same of what we've already gotten. You're going to get somebody that's going to be beholden to corporate interests. They don't care as much or at all about everyday Americans and working class Americans. So if you want somebody that's going to fight for you, then vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer.
Yes, thank you so much. It has been such a delight to get to know the rest of CD2 over this time. Just for my campaign, before it got stopped in its tracks by COVID-19, I traveled 6,200 miles and I met with hundreds of folks across the area, and I got to know the landscape, and I got to know what really inspires folks and what they need from their representative. We talked about water, we talked about wind farms, we talked about everything under the sun. I even was able to, with my friend Barbara Wright, go through Pendleton and tour the flooded areas and talk to the victims there. And that obviously was devastating and very, very difficult for the folks there, and just hard to watch, much less live. And that is what I'm going to do is, when I am elected, is take a page from Senator Merkley's book and really have a town hall in every county every year. And that's 3 weeks of town halls. And I think it's incredibly important to continue coming home and to continue driving as much as I can and really get to know the folks here and what they need from me as their representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Now to Mr. Hewerts, please.
Thank you. Yes, like the others have said, I started traveling around the district and talking to people in person, and nothing can replace that 100%. I grew up in the area, so I was lucky enough to know the district pretty well, having traveled to just about every edge of the district over my years. And growing up on a small farm and then also owning my own business, working in retail, I feel like I understand the needs of all the different people across our big district, because it's huge and there's lots of different people from rural all the way up to mid and small cities and towns. But really, this did give me the opportunity to take my experience in business, social marketing, social media, and applying it to politics. So I've been making videos daily. I've been talking to people on Facebook daily. The nice thing is that in a day, I can, with the right post, I can reach, thousands of people at a time, and I can have conversations with them on Facebook. And so it's pretty nice to have that direct contact. And so it's nice that we have that technology available to us. But I would say that we do have to get money out of politics, because we need the time to be able to spend with our constituency. And if we're constantly on the phone trying to raise money to win the next election, we're not having time to talk with the people and represent the people and do the work that needs to be done to legislate the will of the people. So again, getting big money out of politics is a big part of my plan and would allow me to stay in better touch with the people. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nick. So we're going to head to a short commercial break here in just a second, but I want to take another opportunity to thank all of you that are watching from home via your newspaper's Facebook page or website. Right now, it looks like we have John Black watching on the LeGrand Observer Facebook page. So thank you, John. We appreciate that you're tuning in tonight. Okay, it's time for that brief commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We are local newspapers in print
and online in our websites and news apps.
We protect democracy.
by asking the tough questions.
And holding those in authority accountable.
We give a voice to the voiceless.
And hold government entities to a high standard.
We support the communities that support us.
Encourage economic vitality.
And open up dialogue on important issues.
We make people laugh.
And sometimes make people cry.
And inspire people to get involved.
We introduce you to new people, places, and businesses.
And honor our community's unique history.
We have opinions based on our research.
And we label them as such.
Newspapers are the glue that holds a community together.
Local journalism, locally owned.
We're your neighbors.
And we care about our communities, just like you do.
We are EO Media Group, and we approve this message.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad that you returned. Just a short mention too, if your company would like to have one of their pre-made commercials featured or advertised here on the Republican Forum tomorrow night, please contact Brent Clapp and he'll be able to help you out with that.
All
Chris?
right. Well, we're just about out of time. So we do want to go ahead and go to our final question, which is with regard to closing statements, actually, from each one of our candidates. So we're going to start with closing statements, and I'm not sure if I have the order here. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Here's Mr. Spencer will lead off with closing statements, and you have 60 seconds.
Thank you. I want to be your voice in Congress. I have driven over 6,200 miles, met hundreds of people, listened, learned, and while these things are important to us, water security, healthcare, infrastructure, the economy, the most important priority for everyone is healing the divisiveness that plagues Oregon and the U.S. I have the strength, diverse background, expertise, and ability to get the job done. Now, a COVID-19 revolution has been thrust upon us. People need food, healthcare, money, testing, and support. I have asked supporters to donate to others first. At spencer2020.com/pandemic support, there is a list of organizations on the front lines getting neighbors what they need to survive. Winning
Thank
Congress.
you, Ms. Spencer.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll now go to Mr. Vaughn.
Oh, I just want to close by saying that I believe in American ingenuity and the ability of our people to get things done when we have a big crisis facing us. So this is that time. We need to work together and we need to make changes that are going to be better for our country. One thing that we've seen during this crisis is that we desperately need Medicare for all. Medicare for all is going to solve so many problems for people, and it's going to cost less money than our current system. There's been studies, even by conservatives, that have proven that. So I will fight for progressive values like a $15 an hour minimum wage for living wages for Americans. And my campaign is also about compassion for people. So in addition to the progressive values, I am going to fight for racial justice and equality, LGBTQ equality, and to end the paternalism of Native American tribes. So thank you, and I hope I get your support.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Now to Mr. Hewerts.
I know we just have a short time for closing. I'm just going to use the opportunity to answer a Facebook comment I saw on some of my posts right before I entered this forum. Somebody said that my ideas were kind of nice, but they were superficial campaign rhetoric. I just wanted to say, what are we here for if we're not here to do big things? What are we here for if we're not here to help people who are hurting? What are we here for if we're not here to fix a flawed system and make systemic changes? All my plans have paid for. all my plans are detailed. My website issue page, www.nickforcongress.com, very detailed on my issue page. They are intricate and they have pay-fors and they're doable. And so not only do I have a plan, which is important, I believe it can be done. And so I believe it can be done if we unite together. So everybody who wants progress for equality, for our economy, for our Earth's health, unite together. I believe we can get it done. So let's unite together and get it done. Thank you.
Okay, now to Mr. Holm.
This is going to be one of the bumpiest rides we've ever had, but I'm ready for it. As a strategist years ago, I attended political training first with Democrats and Republicans. Because if you are going to enter a political race, you need to be better understanding each side's tactics. It really made me see what we're up against when it comes to taking power away from Republican politicians, working not only in their self-interest, but in the interest of the wealthy and big business instead of the people. It is worth the fight. I am focused on moving our guardians into the future so we can stay competitive with the United States when it comes to jobs and being a leader in the green energy. We can prove to the world that we can do both. We can also show the rest of the country how to bring education into the 21st century. Right now, we must restructure our approach to education, with remote learning and access to technology becoming more important than ever. We need to significantly boost our funding for public education, make sure we are fulfilling our obligation to our children, to provide them with great education so they can be competitive in the emerging industries of the future. Finally, we can show how real communities can work together to achieve better living standards by improving our healthcare system. This is a human rights issue, but it's also an economic issue. Our economy is driven by workers, and without a healthy workforce, we cannot have a strong economy. Thank you. Come to John Holm for Congress.com.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. And unfortunately, we could not get to many of the questions that we had submitted by readers via Facebook. Some of those questions centered on the Second Amendment and immigration issues, and clearly those are important issues to our district. And so we hope that each of the candidates will be able to address us on their own websites and social media as they continue their campaigns.
Thank you all for participating in tonight's forum, and to all of those of you that are watching us from home. This has been a program hosted by the EO Media Group and EO Alive TV. A special thank you to Brett Clapp Productions, CHI St. Anthony Hospital of Pendleton, PAC West, and Umatilla County Democrats for their generous support of tonight's event. Please join us for the forums with the Republican candidates for the CD2 seat tomorrow night, Saturday, May 2nd at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Or if you missed watching live tonight, you can view the videos on your newspaper's website, on your newspaper's Facebook page under videos, or on eoalive.tv.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.